So this setup is obviously the Sector Mechanicus style. Essentially what you'd be playing is like a 500 point game on that 22 by 30 inch board. The board that we include with it is reversible, so you can do like the outside, like sand looking terrain, or in this case, I have it set up to like the Sector Mechanicus, Sector Sanctoris looking board, which is like the obviously like the terrain style here, which is like the full metal, like everything. Now there's specific areas on the board where it looks like you could put like buildings, or some of the pipes can connect into the ground to give you like the full on 3D immersion. But obviously that's not necessary. You can just place everything as you choose. But essentially all these pieces are kept so that you can assemble it however you want. Nothing is glued that's unnecessary. That way you can change your board as many times as you want. Play with the same pieces but with unlimited board configurations. So you'll have a lot of different options. You have all your clips down here, which can be used to attach all the different floors and everything. And then obviously the legs have the clips built into the bottoms of them as well. And there literally is unlimited configurations for this setup. That way you can basically just play with the same set as long as you want, and then expand onto it as your games get bigger beyond 500 points, or as you leave Kill Team and go into Warhammer 40,000, or if you just want to mix it up and not use everything. This is easily enough terrain that you can have a heavily set up board with tons of cover, or you could have a light setup board with much less cover and just not use everything that comes in the set. So, and as you'll see, once we set this up, I'll demonstrate just a couple of the configurations for you. But the idea is that you can basically set your terrain up any style you want, any way you want, change up all the different options, and not have to glue anything. And then if you find yourself using the same configuration or same setup very often, obviously you can go through and start gluing some of those options on. That way you have like your permanent setups, but you're not restricted when you get the set from us. And then also you don't have to worry about any breakages or anything during the shipping process, because everything can be like securely wrapped up and made sure that it arrives in the same condition that it leaves in, which is obviously like brand new. Essentially everything is just unassembled, or I'm sorry, cut out, trimmed, cleaned, and then assembled, and then it's shipped straight to the customer or client, where they can then make whatever decisions they like about the configuration, put it together however they like. The idea is that everything essentially is using Games Workshop's designs to clip into place as they have intended it, so that your pieces can be assembled like this or changed around and configured in other ways. So you'll notice that a lot of these pieces are like push fit connection. So you can basically take that piece, secure it into the Games Workshop component, and then move it, or arrange it however you choose along the way without being permanently restricted. And then also, obviously everything is set up in a way. So this set specifically has a layer of highlights on it. So you have your initial paint, you have your details all picked out, you have your wash setup, and then we've gone back through and done additional highlights on like key pieces, like all the large like refineries type pieces, and then they add a little bit of color in. But overall, you're looking at like more of like the overall mechanical look to it. So obviously, it is a very cool setup, and very popular as well, as we've had quite a few of these go out. But if you're not familiar with how this works, essentially the idea is these have like the clip pieces on the bottom. You're able to line these up with the holes on the product from Games Workshop, like in this case the floor panel, and then it clips into place and then holds your setup depending on how you have designed it. So you have like literally again unlimited configurations without the restrictions that you might normally have. And then once again, there's tons of different ways that you can configure each one of these pieces. So you could literally take the same two pieces and assemble them however you choose. So there's no restriction on where you place these basically. It's sort of like a big adult Lego kit where you can just go through, change them up however you want, so that you have like the slimmer style pattern. You can add on these pieces wherever you like onto different sides or size. Very cool setup. Definitely a big fan of the way that it's designed. That way you have like the unlimited ability to modify it. So as you go through, you'll find that there's literally endless configurations that you can use. And reconfigure it if you decide one option or one design is a little more beneficial to a certain kill team or to a certain army, or say you're playing a game without large vehicles, you want it to be like a little more like clustery and have like a higher density of terrain, versus another game you might decide that you don't want quite as much terrain because it favors one person over the other. And then again, you can use the different pieces to set it up how you like. So in this case, I have the legs holding up the platform itself, but you could also use the platforms on top of a piece like this, and it's designed so it can sit right on top, and then you can build onto that as well. And then again, you can use these pieces however you like in different configurations to give you like unlimited unlimited abilities and configurations as well. So each one of these pieces can be combined with different pieces to give you a completely separate or different map. So and then once again, you have your pieces like this basically with the same configuration on the bottom. And again, you can use the actual clips themselves if you'd like to do that, or you can go through and use the actual leg screws like this. Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man, back in the studio with another completed terrain commission. This one is for the Sector Mechanicus terrain, and this is everything that comes in the kill team starter set terrain wise, plus a bunch of extras added in as well to really fill out your full board. So the idea with this one is just with like this setup that we have, you can fill out a 22 by 30 inch kill team board, or essentially run like your smaller board for Warhammer 40,000. Again, same measurements, 22 by 30. It's done in the Sector Mechanicus. Alright, so here I went on through and just did a basic setup. The idea being that you have essentially 2 levels of combat, and then quite a few areas where you could access with ladders. You have quite a bit of scatter terrain. You have a heavy like center blocking line of sight item, and then quite a few other ones around like the perimeter as well. And then there's quite a bit of scatter terrain. This is ideally more for like a kill team game or smaller like infantry based like skirmish mission. But it just gives you like a relative idea of how you can set things up. Unlimited options that you have for different configurations. Quite a bit of high level access that's still covered but still visible from anywhere on the board, and then quite a bit of line of sight blocking terrain as well, which I think is key, especially for a kill team, where you could essentially like position your objectives out in the open or behind cover so that people have to route you out depending. You don't have clear line of sight from every position on the board, so if someone takes up like an advantageous position, you can get away from them and essentially like draw them out. There's quite a bit of access to the different levels and different portions of the board as well, so you don't feel like you're stuck going down like a specific kill area if it's heavily covered by gunfire, or if you need to split your forces to get away from a combat threat. You have various directions that you can go. You'll see how the colors give it a little bit of extra pop to it and make things stand out, but without making it look too cartoony or too colorful. It gives you like the weathered, overall kind of like tattered looking environment. So essentially the idea is to just give you a little bit of everything. There's still quite a few pieces that are unused as well, and quite a bit of just random scatter terrain like thrown about, so you could alter the setup however you like. But essentially you can get the idea of what we're going for with these sets, and basically build from there. I really like the idea of having it 2 levels. A lot of the kill team stuff is set more for just ground level, and I think you lose out on not having like the vantage points and the additional cover and everything of high ground. You can also play like a King of the Hill style mission where essentially like you have to capture the high ground, or you could play a mission where you have objectives on the first and second level, so you could essentially have someone standing up top and then a smaller force below, or a larger force below rather, that doesn't go on top but then has more people on the objective to claim it or contest it. Essentially just going for like as much diversity, and you can alter the board accordingly to who's playing, or if you're having continual problems with too much cover or not enough cover or not enough high ground or ladders in specific places as opposed to others, just so you can have like ultimate diversity. And there's quite a few extra pieces that are not even used in this setup, so you can alter it however you choose, move things around. And then if you start finding like a configuration you really like, you can start to glue stuff to give it just a little more stability. But overall, everything attaches very well. Nice clean setup, clean paint job, but also is reminiscent of the 41st millennia, and really gives you like that Warhammer or Kill Team or even Necromunda feel to it. So, and then included with the sets as well, we do give you the boards, the dice, all that good stuff. So you have essentially like right out of the box a full set. So you can just add on your existing armies. Spend time painting what's your priority, like your models, or essentially just add on a fully painted kill team or a small Warhammer force onto it, or a start collecting box, whatever you're looking for. But you basically just get your set in the mail, pop it out of the box, set it up, experiment with it, and you're ready to go. And obviously everything is bubble wrapped and shipped securely and safely to make sure that it arrives in the condition that it's displayed here. So I just want to show off another one of the sets before it leaves the studio. I'm Warhammer Man, Warhammer Man Studios, and I'm out of here.